Thank you very much, Mr. Ryan, Dato Timothy, all our guests, ASEAN business leaders, members of governments, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Philippines and welcome to the Palace of the People, Malacanang. Again, everybody says in the beginning that this is a very important time, auspicious time, historic time for this meeting. Every week brings a new chapter in the financial drama that is gripping the world. Some might say the recent chapters read like a horror novel. Two weeks ago, the US government approved, as we know, an unprecedented bailout worth $700 billion that many thought would calm the waters. Last week, those waters were roiling across the globe as Asian and European markets and governments scrambled to respond in kind. Today, markets around the world have swung back in a positive direction again. Who knows where they will be next week? One thing is sure, we must not lose sight of the impact on real people who bear the brunt of these market fluctuations. We must not revert to complacency just because the markets swing to the positive. The last few weeks have revealed that confidence is important, but confidence alone is not enough. We need fundamental structural reform and global cooperation. This is why I have proposed a meeting of ASEAN Plus 3 next week in Beijing on the sidelines of the ASEM, the Asia-Europe meeting. This meeting should aim at preventing the financial firestorm from engulfing our markets and at putting in place solid stabilization measures. Along the same line, this past week, I instructed our Finance Secretary Gary Teves to meet with the ASEAN Plus 3 finance ministers and their representatives together with the World Bank, IMF, and ADB senior officials in Washington to hammer out a deal to aid our region if it should become necessary. As a result, they reached an understanding to establish a standby facility to assist ASEAN countries who would need to cope with severe liquidity problems. I keep talking about the subjunctive because we don't have an ASEAN economy in that condition yet, but it's always important to be prepared. The facility can also be used to purchase toxic assets and recapitalize troubled financial institutions and private companies. The World Bank indicated that it can initially commit to $10 billion as its contribution to the facility. Hopefully, the IMF, ADB, Japan, and China, and the rest of ASEAN will contribute at least the same. In addition, we should aim for viable binding market monitoring and regulation. How to do that? Through what institution? That is something we all have to think about. I have also called, and I continue to call, on the G7 countries to include the emerging economies in the bold actions and extraordinary measures that they plan to undertake to ease the global crunch. The emerging countries should not be isolated from the grand plan. The systemic failures that are sweeping the globe from the tropics to the Arctic, and therefore they should lead to a universal solution, not merely a patchwork of regional remedies. Now, to talk about the Philippines. The Philippines appears in relatively good shape, thanks to our fiscal reforms that manifested in, as Dato Timothy pointed out, 7% plus GDP growth last year. We took decisive action a few years ago to fundamentally alter our economic fortunes. When some governments were cutting taxes, we raised them. When some governments were deregulating, we were bringing more discipline and order to our financial regulatory environment. When some governments were going deeper into debt, we were fiscally prudent, building up our reserves, investing in our infrastructure, and yet paying our debts. These were not easy decisions, but they built for us a stronger economic foundation. To quote Standard & Poor's, and I quote, "Yes, the Philippines is lucky because they have made the necessary adjustments and reforms when times were still good. So they are facing the global market problems and economic slowdown from a considerably improved position compared to what they were in 3 to 4 years ago." To continue the quote, "The Philippines is an island of calm currently, while there is turmoil in the higher-rated and previously stable countries." End of quote. Nonetheless, I have directed our economic managers to draw up a contingency plan to cushion the impact of a possible U.S. economic recession on the ordinary Filipinos. The plan includes strategies to pump prime growth, to upgrade the country's infrastructure and social services, and to protect labor.